Hello and welcome back to Non-Compete. I'm American Johnson, and today we're going to be talking about feminism. These days, feminism is...
Feminism? Are you talking about feminism?
Yeah. Hi, Neckybeard. I was just explaining that feminism is a very...
Guy, you just said it again. Don't you know what that word means?
Yeah, of course I know what feminism means.
Feminism is total bullshit. And feminists are just a bunch of whiny females who want to take rights away from men and put women in charge of society.
What are you talking about, Neckybeard? That is not true at all. Feminists just want all genders to be equal.
We have a word for equality already, American. It's called egalitarianism. Ever heard of it? Feminism is just another word for misandrism, and that means the hatred of men.
Yeah, I know what misandrism means, but that's not what feminism is at all.
This is your brain on soy. Everybody look at the soy boy. This guy over here, he thinks that feminists want equality.
Neckybeard, just calm down, okay? Let's figure this out together. Why do you think that feminists hate men?
Well, they say they hate men all the time.
Have you ever actually talked to a feminist, Neckybeard?
Yes, I've talked to hundreds of feminists.
Where? Where have you talked to hundreds of feminists?
Well, on Twitter, obviously.
Neckybeard, threatening women on Twitter is not the same as talking to them. I've explained this to you a million times.
Okay, well anyway, I don't need to talk to Hitler to know that Nazis are bad, and I don't need to talk to feminists to know that they are bad.
Hitler? Really? We're less than a minute into this debate and you've already broken Godwin's law.
Godwin's law. As an online discussion grows longer, the probability of a comparison involving Hitler approaches 1.
Godwin's law has been suspended.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You know, that's actually true. Mike Godwin, who came up with Godwin's law, actually did give us carte blanche to make comparisons to Hitler, but that's really only in the case of the alt-right. You can't compare feminists to Hitler.
Why not? Feminists are basically Nazis. They hate men. I saw a list of feminist quotes on Reddit where they talk about hating men.
Neckybeard, what did I tell you about Reddit?
That it's a shithole?
Yes, that it's a shithole, and you shouldn't believe anything that you read there.
Well, you should read these things that they say. Men are domestic animals. Man-hating is an honorable and viable political act. Marilyn French said that all men are rapists, and that's all they are.
Okay, Marilyn French didn't say that. That was a line spoken by a character in one of her novels. See, that's what I mean. You're cherry picking.
Cherry picking, a form of logical fallacy called incomplete evidence. Cherry picking involves presenting a few random pieces of evidence that support your argument while ignoring all evidence that contradicts it.
Most of these quotes you're talking about are either being taken wildly out of context, or they're completely fabricated, or they're taken from works of satire and fiction. And aren't you the one that's always saying that we shouldn't get all triggered about jokes in fiction?
Feminists are the ones that can't take a joke. They accuse everybody of being sexist and see all men as sexist pigs.
Okay, see, now you're building a straw man, Neckybeard.
The straw man fallacy involves refuting an argument that was not presented by one's opponent.
You've built your own version of feminism to attack that has nothing to do with actual feminism.
Oh, come on. Every feminist I've ever seen is a super radical man-hater. Haven't you seen that H3H3 video where the feminist went totally ballistic because some guy made a stupid dad joke?
It's humongous.
Now you've come to the anecdotal evidence fallacy.
Anecdotal evidence fallacies involve arguments based on informal accounts of isolated events.
That one single YouTube video does not represent what the majority of feminist thought and action is about.
I don't even see what women have to be so upset about anyway. They're totally equal to men. I mean, there are female CEOs, female senators, female billionaires.
Okay, now you're trying to create a false dichotomy.
False dichotomies are arguments that limit the options to 2 when there are, in fact, more options to choose from.
Just because women have made some progress in society does not mean that the work of gender equality is totally finished. I mean, yes, there are some women with leadership positions, but not nearly as many as there should be.
But feminists don't want equality, American. They want special treatment, special privileges. If they want to earn more money and if they want more leadership positions, then why don't they work hard for it like we do? Men have to work hard for their money and their promotions, so why shouldn't women?
Oh, so now you're onto the equal treatment fallacy.
Equal treatment fallacy? This fallacy is rooted in the false notion that if we treat everyone equally, then everyone will suddenly become equal.
The fact is that women and other non-male genders have been oppressed for a very long time, Neckiebeard. I'm talking centuries. And even when oppressed groups are granted legal rights and freedoms, it doesn't mean they're automatically able to enjoy and have those freedoms in the real world. If we truly want an egalitarian society, then we will have to temporarily treat some groups differently so that in the long run, they can become truly equal.
This is just a bunch of PC nonsense. You're nothing but a cultural Marxist social justice warrior. You're just a typical beta male white knighting so you can get a bunch of female attention. I'm on to you, American Johnson.
Oh, okay. You're getting to the ad hominem attacks now. I can see you're getting desperate.
Ad hominems are attacks against the opponent as a person, as opposed to attacks against the argument itself.
Even you should know better than that, Neckiebeard.
I'm just sick and tired of PC SJWs like you trying to ruin everything for men. Feminists are just trying to feminize men and feminize society and push us into believing that men are evil and terrible.
And there's an appeal to fear.
Appeal to fear, an argument that is rooted in the subject's distrust or fear of a subject rather than any actual evidence.
Your fear of feminism does not equal an argument, Neckiebeard.
Wow, why can't you just admit that feminists hate men?
I don't know, Neckiebeard. Maybe it's because I've actually studied feminism and I've actually talked to feminists, and I don't just assume that every woman I've ever talked to is some overly emotional and manipulative monster who's lying about all of her experiences with society.
Actually, women don't even have it that bad. Men have it way worse. We commit suicide more often, we die in war more often, we are far more likely to go to prison.
Oh, you know what? You've actually made a good point, Neckiebeard. Yes, men do suffer in our current society, and that's exactly why we as men need feminism. Because gender inequality hurts men as well as women, and that's why most modern feminists are concerned with things like toxic masculinity and enforced gender roles that hurt men.
Well, if feminists care about men, then why do they call themselves feminists? Why don't they call themselves egalitarians?
Because there's just no reason to, Neckiebeard. Because feminism is a philosophy and a movement that deals specifically with empowering women and breaking down barriers and social constructs that hurt all people of all genders. And as an intersectionalist, I believe that feminists must work together with LGBTQ activists, racial equality activists, anti-capitalists, and other liberation movements, because oppression is a complex and interlinked system of social problems that need to be tackled together.
Oh, you sound totally brainwashed. I guess feminists can do no wrong in your eyes.
Not at all. Actually, there are a lot of feminists that I disagree with. Take, for example, TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists. These are feminists who don't consider trans women to be real women and want to exclude them from the feminist movement. See, I don't agree with them at all. That's the thing you don't get about feminism, Neckiebeard. It's not some big monolithic conspiracy. There are hundreds of different perspectives and viewpoints within feminism. There are points of contention and debate that have been argued for hundreds of years by feminists. So when you try to paint us all with this big broad brush and put all feminists in one box, all that tells me is that you have never actually studied or deeply considered feminism.
All right then, Mr. Smart Guy, can you name some feminist propaganda I can consume so I can come back and prove you wrong about feminism once and for all?
Sure, yeah, if you want to read a book about the subject, then there's a great book called Feminism is for Everybody by Bell Hooks. Or if you're more of a video watching kind of Billy Goat, then there are some really good feminist YouTubers. ContraPoints has a video on why she became a feminist that I highly recommend. I'll put a link to that in the description along with some other resources.
And I'll be sure to leave a comment calling you a beta cuck.
Okay, you do that. Go on. Wait, Neckiebeard, come here. Stay off of Reddit. That place is a shithole.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.